afternoon, everyone. Can you believe it? Another celebrity share the vibe. And I'm so honored to have Gavin Sharples with us today. And like I always say, I am not going to introduce him. People are going to go, duh, we know who he is. But I'm going to leave it to him because we want to know, Gavin, who are you?
Yeah, so thank you for inviting me. I don't know about the word celebrity. I think I'm a celebrity in my own bathwater. It's just amazing that I've been speaking on circuits around the world for about 25 years now, and I still walk into a place and people don't know who I am. And it just, I suppose it's proof of the pudding that there is so much work out there, and you probably will never touch everybody. You'll never get around to everybody. So for every one person that knows you, there's 10 people who don't know you. So in a way, that's good news because there's potential. So yeah, I've been hitting the bricks and speaking on all sorts of things like change and action, and I'm pretty direct. So I think that's one of the reasons why people do book me, is that there's no nonsense. I'm not one of those guys that talk, all these big words, neuro-linguistic programming, cybernetics of the brain. I just say, get off your ass and do something. You know what I mean? Just go do a job, work as hard as you can. I'm a bit much of a straight talker, and I think maybe that's the appeal. I don't know, but celebrity, no, I don't think I'm there yet.
That is so amazing, Gavin. You always think that you are not a celebrity, and you walk on this stage and you own it. So don't give us that. You are so humble. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that. Look, one thing I know, again, I've looked at it and tried to find what is it about me on a stage that, and I don't know. So when I get on stage, I become like this different person. Even my kids say to me, you know what I mean? People always say, what is he like to live with? And I'm just, there's like this stage person that I become, this monster when I'm on there. And I think to tone it down when I go home.
And that's exactly what they say. If we look at psychology, they normally say introverts are normally the guys who are on stage, the actors, etc. Because we can go into this different persona, and then when we go down, we can be just me. So, Gavin, what have you been doing during lockdown?
Just keeping busy. I love observing. So I love watching what people, all of a sudden everybody does webinars, and all of a sudden everybody does training things, and everybody goes and buys toilet paper. So what I like to do is just sit back and just watch what the masses and the people are doing, watch how people respond, and then I just bide my time. And yes, so I've done a few webinars, I've done a few radio interviews, but most importantly, I keep busy by writing. I've just finished, and I was trying to put to bed the new book, plus I'm writing another one on top of that right now. So trying to keep the mind active, and then physically, we got the gym and stuff at home, which means when I say the gym, we work out in the garden on a piece of wood with old weights. So don't think it's this, the Rock, Dwayne the Rock Johnson type of a gym. So we just work out as best we can, and of course, the good thing is that without anybody coming in to help, you do your own gardening, we do the own house cleaning and that type of stuff. So between writing and the physical, and we've got all the kids here, so we've kept busy, and I must admit, it's gone very, very quickly.
Well, that's great. And that brings me to my next question, because obviously suddenly being locked down, we cannot get out. So suddenly you've got wife in your face, you've got the kids in your face, the dog is jumping over you, etc. How are you coping with all of this during lockdown, and how did you adjust your routine to make it work?
Well, the cool thing is that I work from home anyway, and my wife is my business partner, and she runs it. So basically, I work with her every single day, and I always have. The only difference is that I don't actually go out now, and I'm not away 4 or 5 hours or sleepovers. But generally, I've always worked with her. We've always worked very close together, and we're my business partner, my life partner. So I must admit, the adjustment to me hasn't been that tough, although I think for some people it would be. Also, on the whole concept of introvert or extrovert, I think I'm an omnivert. In other words, I have those moments when I can be quiet, and when someone says, describe your perfect night, I would rather spend it with 2 or 3 friends. So I've got all the classic introvert traits, but there's also the extroverted. So if you wanted to switch that side on, you can switch that side. And I think most people are like that.
Yes.
So adapting and that type of thing for me hasn't really been difficult, because it's whether I'm alone or whether I'm with people, to me, it doesn't really make much of a difference. Although I do understand that there are people who are basically extroverts,
Yes.
and this whole time has absolutely just floored them. And in
Correct.
a way, it's a good thing because they are learning how to cope with it. You've got to, you know what I mean? It's nothing like being thrown in the deep end and saying, hey, sink or swim. So in a way, it's been tough. But, you know, somebody once said, when tough is all you've got, okay, then you're going to be tough.
Yeah. And it's so amazing, you know, and for me, it's very, very difficult. I mean, I don't see myself as a motivational speaker. I see myself as a thought-provoking speaker. But everybody's going doom and gloom, and, you know, it's the
Yeah.
end of the world, and we're not going to survive. And but how do you stay motivated? Because you yourself said, you know, I'm actually unemployed right now. How do you stay motivated? And tell the people what to do out there and stop complaining.
Yeah, so what I've done as well is I send out every 2 weeks, I send out a newsletter, and every day we send out a positive affirmation on WhatsApp to
Great.
the thousands of people who actually follow. So I sent a newsletter out, I think the last 2 or 3, and people can just go to the website, they can click on it. And one of the things I wrote is that stop being motivated. People spend too much time. First of all, there's no such thing as a motivational speaker. It's a
Correct.
concept that you cannot motivate another human being. So it's a misnomer. And people just like to put people who speak on stage and say positive things, call them motivational speakers. It doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And people worry too much about being motivated. You should stop worrying about being motivated and fill your diary and fill your schedule with things to do. And
Yeah.
I've always said, let your schedule determine your motivation and not your motivation determine your schedule.
Correct.
Because if you're going to wake up every single day and look for this magic inspiration, or you're going to, you know what I mean? You'll look in the mirror and go, I am beautiful. I can't. It's just a bunch of nonsense. What you want to do is set yourself up an action plan of the things that you need to do. So we as a family, we also know that certain days in this house is house cleaning. And other days are gardening. Other days are everybody sits in their own space and you do writing, you do work, you do your
Correct.
online courses. And the more you fill your time with structure, with things to do, that will create the motivation for you. But if you wake up every single morning and say, well, I can't do it because I don't feel motivated and I need somebody external to me to come into my life and pump my tires, there's an issue with you. And the issue is you're just not busy enough. So my big thing is just get busy and don't worry about the motivation and that nonsense.
And that's exactly what it is. You know, you cannot expect anybody else to give you the hoo-ha, because at the end of the day, that hoo-ha is not going to last. And, you know, you can always phone someone to have that feel-good feeling, but it only lasts for a short period of time. It comes from within.
Correct.
Get this thing going and everything else will be rolling. Now, Gavin, right now, obviously, what is the one thing you miss most of being in lockdown? And obviously, we are going to level 3, and life is tough. But what do you miss during these challenging times?
You know what? I haven't really missed much. And then when you sent through a thing saying to me, so what do you miss? And I started thinking about it for the first time. And I think one of the things I really miss, which as a speaker who works this country and the world, I always thought it was the downside. I actually miss traveling.
Oh, wow.
I literally miss getting into a car and driving through to Volkwyn and spending 4 or 5 hours in the car. I miss driving up. I mean, I just before the lockdown, I had like my week was planned. I was driving to Bloem. I didn't even want to fly. I wanted to drive to Bloem, spend 2 or 3 nights, work with my clients there. Then on the way back, stop it at Witbank, do 1 or 2 clients there, and then and they all stopped it. And I thought, now what? So the travel, as much as when we were in it, I thought it was a pain, and it was.
Yep.
I've actually missed the travel. I've missed actually just getting out on the road because I love driving.
Yes.
So we are going to move my one daughter's coming back to Joburg now because the campus in Stellenbosch is not opening. I can't wait to drive her car back to Joburg. I can't wait to get into a motor car by yourself, turn that music up on that big, and just drive. I tell you, what I've missed most is travel and going places, going to the gigs, going to the functions, going out. I think that's what I've probably missed the most.
Okay. And you know, this is amazing how many people have different things they miss. I mean, I had a client who said, I miss mug and bean red cappuccino. And I go, why?
Yeah, some people
But that's how we interact. But tell me, what keeps you sane right now? Because obviously it must be worrying, Gavin, we all are normal, that suddenly we have no really timeline to say by the end of the year, we will all be able to open up gigs again. What keeps you sane not to go into that real spiral down the rabbit hole and go, oops, my life is in shambles?
Okay, well, again, yeah, I'm just one of those people that saw the writing on the wall about 2 years ago.
Okay.
So looking at the way the country was being run, look at the way the economy was changing. About 2 to 3 years ago, I said to my wife, we need to start selling off assets. We need to become cash flush.
Yes.
And when everybody else wasn't doing it, for the last 2-3 years, we have been selling and organizing and putting things in place.
Right.
So that if something did happen, we were going to be prepared. So when this now did actually happen, we found ourselves fortunately in a place where now that there's no work coming in, and part of the things that I've stood up on stages for the last 25 years and said to people, if you lose your income and you are not able to work for 6 months, will that affect your lifestyle? Because if the answer is yes, start saving, start putting money away, start doing it now, because the rainy day is going to come. And I've been shouting that from the rooftops, and it would be a little bit silly if I was doing that for 25 years and didn't do it myself. Fortunately, I did. So what we have things for a rainy day. Look, it is our life savings, and it's not something that we want to do. But the reason that I'm sitting here now and not losing it and not having it is because of preparation. In other words, when money came in the past, what did you do? Did you spend it, or did you put it away? Did you stash it? Did you invest it? And make sure that a certain percentage every single month. Now, whether it's in lockdown or not, and from this moment, I hope people actually learn. You know what? We are going to have rainy days. Rainy days are going to happen. Are you prepared for them? So the only thing that has really kept me sane is knowing that when it happened, and when I got like 5 gigs canceled in 1 week, just in March 20, 5 of them, 1 week, boom, gone. And then I realized that our industry, which is the speaking and conference industry, wasn't going to open up. The panic didn't set in because we knew that we had a backstop. We knew that we had a plan. And that's what I've been trying to get across to people the whole time. Make sure you have a plan. A lot of people say, live for today. Yeah, but what happens if there is a tomorrow? And what about the next day and you haven't planned for it? So that's the one thing that I guess kept us sane. But one of the things I hope that people have learned now is that no matter what you're earning, take a small percentage of that and put it into some kind of a savings a mechanism, and make sure that you always have some kind of a backstop. If you don't, it's panic mode. And a lot of people are panicking because they were literally living paycheck to paycheck. In fact, a lot of them weren't even doing that. Overdrafts, they had bonds and all sorts of stuff. And when that income is taken away, it's a problem.
Yeah. And it's, and it's so true what you are saying. It's all about planning and making sure that nothing in life is guaranteed. And even with health, wealth, anything like that, people, I always refer to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, where they said, you have to go to college, you have to go to varsity, you have a good job, and you'll be okay. Life has changed. And if you're not prepared, you are in trouble. Now, Gavin, I know a lot of people are going to say, asking this, and etc. But the last thing I want to ask you, what message do you really have for people out there in troubled time, besides being prepared? What will be that? What will one message be for them?
Okay, so what I've done over the last 25 years is I've spoken about change, innovation, and creativity. I call it chinking: change, innovation, creativity. And I think the time has now come for us to start using it. For so long, people have been talking about think outside the box, which is just such a silly thing to say to people, because if you were born in the box and you stayed in the box and you were raised in the box and society put you in the box and school put you in the box and the varsity put you in the box and your boss put you in the box, now they say you must think outside the box. So there's a video on my Facebook things called, and on Facebook and all the social media, it's called Living Outside of the Box. And what we talk about is that we have to start literally now doing different and creative things. We cannot do what we did yesterday or the day before. We have to reinvent and change. We have to sit down with like-minded people. We have to sit down with our family, and we have to start saying, right, what can we do over the next 3, 5, 6 months to make sure that we survive and we thrive? And you just throw out ideas and just make it a fun thing to do. But if you don't start creating and changing, if you don't start looking at your finances, if you don't start calling people and saying, listen, I've got this opportunity, or I'm in trouble, or can you help me? I think the day of ego is gone.
Yeah.
I think what we have to do is look at the real things in life. We have to look at our finances. Now we've got to actually start a budget. And we've got to live up to that budget and work to that budget. Now we've got to get rid of things like our gym contracts, which we never used in the first place. We've got to get rid of insurances that we don't need. We have to make sure that we survive through this. And I think the important thing is we are only going to survive if we drop our ego.
Yeah.
If our ego can be dropped, because a lot of people, we're still living up to the Verjaarsvels at the end of the street. We're still doing that.
Yep.
We're still living up to the Dlaminis. We shouldn't. What we should be doing is saying, what do I need now to survive and thrive? And how can my brain come up with ideas? And your brain will come up with ideas because you were born creative. You were born spontaneous. When you were a child and they gave you a present, you had more fun with the box than you had with the present. And why did you do that? Because the box has so many uses if you just open up your mind to what it can do. So I've been saying that for years. The time has come now for us to change. And when I say change, you go from this to that, innovate, take something you've got, tweak it, and make it work for you. And creativity says, what doesn't exist that we can start now in our family, in our business? And very importantly, if you've got a small business, bring your staff in and ask them, what are the solutions? Because the best place is to go to the coalface and ask people, now we need your advice. What can we do to make this thing work? That goes to their salaries, finances, commissions, offers, the stocks, the products. We've got to start changing and innovating and doing things differently.
And that is so amazing. Now, guys, go down on this link below. I have Gavin's details there. Go watch that video and make sure you start applying it. And it's so important. This is a time of opportunity. It's not the time of doom and gloom. Yep. Now, Gavin, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Guys, remember, Celebrities Share the Vibe again on Monday. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Gavin, thank you.